Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beauty Topics podcast. I'm your host, Chantel, and I'm super excited today because I have an incredible guest on my couch with me. It's another one of those pinch me moments. I'm so excited. I have the Dr. Danielle Griffin here with me today, and she is a phenomenal woman. She is an entrepreneur, an author, a mom, a wife, as I call a mompreneur. A business owner, just all these things encompass into one. And she is officially a TED Talk speaker as well. Hello. I'll just give you a little round of applause myself because there is no studio audience. So, Dr. Danielle Griffin, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you today. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Literally my pleasure.
Oh, gosh. This journey has been long but fast at the same time. You know, going back to just when I used to work at the university, kind of workplace trauma, you know, building up, struggling, getting through life, you know, having kids, getting married, figuring out all the things, trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, and using yoga and other various fitness activities as an outlet. And that's kind of where my health and wellness journey had started. But it wasn't until the past year or so I became a yoga instructor where I really started educating people and learning about my own personal burnout. You know,
Yes.
coming out of COVID, all the things kind of compounding. You know, that's really what led to this, like, I need to release. And that's what, you know, the books are about, the TEDx talk is about, is overcoming all the stress, anxiety, the burnout, and not realizing, like, yo, what's going on?
Yes.
I'm doing all these things. I'm getting all these degrees, these certifications. I'm working, trying to climb the ladder. And I have no space for me. I have no space to rest. I'm constantly in caretaker mode.
Yes.
Whether it's kids, husband, parents.
Yes.
And even if I'm have some opportunity to exercise, it's still not giving me the release that I need. I'm still mentally drained, burning the midnight oil, you know, reporting to work, trying to get deadlines in, and
Just life and all over
right,
you.
exactly. And I found that I'm not the only one going through this.
Absolutely not, because I follow you on Instagram pretty closely, and you're always dropping these little gems on there to kind of just like help you push through that last bit. Like sometimes, like I'll click it on, I'm like, okay, I need a little bit of motivation. I'm getting worn out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially like towards the end of my week when things are like getting extra crazy. Like I need that extra little push, and you always are dropping these little gems and tips and tricks, which are extremely helpful. I know you offer a lot of like online coaching and things like that.
Right.
But I just think like your entire journey has been pretty amazing. You know, like I know you're an AKA and all the things. Hello. And I actually got the pleasure of meeting her mother. Shout out to the mama. She's gorgeous.
Yes.
Hello. She looks incredible. And just listening even to like your mom's story and her journey and like relocating to Texas and being closer to like you and your kids and your spouse and just what you guys just went through a journey as a family and you overcoming like all of these stressful things and still being able to create phenomenal material. You guys have to check out her book, Somatic Exercise Made Simple. And then she also has Somatic Exercise Made Simple Mastery Program. So, I mean, these I'm sure are available on Amazon.
Right.
And I just think it's the way you poured into with everything that you were dealing with, you still decided to pour into other people. Do you know what I mean? Like not only you poured into yourself and trying to create this path for yourself to find a way to just breathe and get through all the stresses of your daily life and everything that you were juggling, but you were like, well, let me go ahead and help some other people too along the way.
Right.
Like the selflessness, like I greatly admire. So I just think that's incredible.
It was really when I learned about the somatic exercise, and I also use hypnotherapy as well. I became a certified hypnotherapist. And when I learned about those practices, before I became a practitioner myself, it was really how it helped me, where I was like, this isn't something I can keep to myself. Like this, expedited the healing process, helped me get out of that state of, just overwhelm, and insomnia was a huge thing, especially at that time. And I know so many people in my like immediate circle that could use this. I can't not learn it.
And then gatekeep it.
Right.
Yeah. And then be a
exactly.
gatekeeper. Yeah.
Right. So that was my immediate thought. Like, I have to learn it and I have to share it with others. And that's exactly what I did.
So what was it like becoming a yoga instructor? What does that entail? And then we'll get into the hypnotherapy, because I'm so curious about that. But I've done a few yoga classes, and it's helped me with like breathing, and just getting more in like touch with my body and becoming more flexible.
Right.
What's that journey like to actually become the one at the head of the class?
Well, the initial training, there's several different variations, but the initial certification is a 200-hour training. And you go through the training, as well as you have to do practice hours where you're actually teaching and instructing a class. And that it contributes to the total hours. So there's the 200 and then the 300, which can amount to a total of 500. So sometimes you'll see online instructors saying, I'm a 300 hour, I'm a 500 hour. It's really just the number of hours of training that they completed, as well as practice time, how much instruction they've given. And so I was going to a yoga studio up the road, just as a student, and they were a fairly new studio, and they were looking for instructors. And I knew a couple of people that were already instructors outside of the folks that worked there. And I just kind of inquired, like, what is this? What does it take? What does it take to be a yoga instructor? And like, really, it's just, they teach you the foundations, like, how yoga came about, the different pillars of yoga, ways to practice it, going into different techniques, obviously learning various postures, working on breath work, meditation. So there's a large scope, right? And various methodology for practicing yoga, like yin, vinyasa, hatha. But usually in your training, you're usually focusing on a specific one. You kind of learn everything, but based on what you want to teach, how you want to teach, maybe even where you want to teach, oftentimes they'll focus on specifics. So my primary focus was on vinyasa, which is more of a flow, breath to movement. Some people view it more as like the workout style. I use that in air quotes.
Okay.
Because it's more flowy, more movement. You can get your heart rate up a little bit more, but not all vinyasa is like that. There's slow flow. But it does work on, the balance, the strengthening, and then just the kind of a mental agility, if you will, like using your mind to strengthen your body and vice versa. So.
Gotcha. So vinyasa, that is your specialty.
Right.
I like the way that it sounds, vinyasa. I not even just being a layperson, not even realizing there's all these different forms and versions, because we hear hot yoga and then yoga at your gym. You go to Lifetime Fitness and you do a yoga class there,
right.
And I know downward dog and I know all my basic positions and my breathing, but you're very well versed in what you do. It's quite impressive. Tell me a little bit about like hypnotherapy, like what it is, what it's for, who it helps.
Yeah. I like to think of hypnotherapy as just a deeper form of meditation.
Okay.
But usually it's guided, right? There is practice where you can hypnotize yourself. It does take a lot of experience. So most people go to somebody else like me to hypnotize them, to get them to that state. And gosh, there's lots of reasons people do it. It can be overcoming addictions, like I want to stop smoking or drinking less, or weight loss, lots of different things, or just some of the kind of more common things recently is just overcoming fears, just mental blocks, that things that are holding you back. Those are often common, where you can say like, I know this is what I want, but this thing is preventing me. This fear, this something within me is saying like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Maybe it was something a parent or somebody you trust kind of instilled in you as, oh, that's not a good idea.
Yes.
So
yes.
even though you're seeing like, well, other people are doing it, I think I could do it, but maybe I shouldn't. You know, that kind of self-doubt gets in the way. You can use the hypnotherapy to overcome a lot of those things. And that's exactly what I did. There's a couple apps online. The one I prefer is called Mind Valley, but there's a few practitioners on there that I kind of followed. They had some courses, if you will, within the app. And I was able to overcome a lot of the things that I was dealing with. You know, my dad had passed, and I was just constantly avoiding my reality, so to speak. You know, like my mom moved out here, so that was added stressor. You know, I had changed jobs. You know, I had my kids. I had a newborn also during that time.
Yes.
And so, you know, I was just very stressed and not knowing how to decompress, how to get out of it. The constant fear, plus I have businesses, like the fear that if I stop, everything's going to fall apart. And being able to know that, rest assured, like you're putting in the work. You can still rest. You can still take care of yourself and accomplish these things.
Yeah.
Because you're doing all the things you need to in order for it to happen. And so it wasn't until I did that, you know, kind of mindfulness practice with the hypnotherapy where I realized like I can let go. I can trust that I'm on the path that I need to be on. I'm putting in the work. I know that this thing is for me. My business isn't going to fail. Like I know that, you know, I don't have doubts about that. I'm not in a position where, you know, financially struggling or whatever. It's just, I'm busy. And it's really this busyness of my own making that's
yeah, when you say they're part of our own making. Yes. The more and more we put on ourselves.
Right.
It's almost like sometimes I feel a lot of times like I'm playing physical and mental Jenga. Like, okay, I got to put this piece on top. This has to be priority right now. And then we're going to move this piece over here. And then you're just trying to keep the Jenga pieces from falling over, you know? Sometimes that's a way I have to like describe my life. It's like, I don't hate it. I absolutely love it. But, you know, there are just times where the stress is getting to you and your Jenga pieces, they're wobbling. You know, you pull that piece out and it starts to get shaky. It doesn't fall, but it gets real, real shaky. You know, I 100% understand where you're coming from, because oftentimes I think we as women, we put ourselves last and we put everybody else first. The kids, the spouse, the work, everything. And almost feeling like ashamed or selfish to put yourself first in certain things. But it's like, mama's got to be taken care of, because if you're not, the Jenga, the pieces will fall. They will fall and crumble, you know? And I feel like a lot of times in a position like you know, you have this household and this spouse and these kids and these careers and, you know, these books and things like that. And it's so, like, you know, you have people like me who admire you and we see it from a distance and we're like, she's amazing. That girl has everything going on. But also inside, you're like still keeping it together just like us. You know, we like put you guys on a pedestal, but we have to recognize that you're human too. Exactly. You know, even though you have this superhero cape on, it's like we still have to recognize that you are human and you're entitled to like need support and help just like, you know, anybody else.
I wanted to get into the niche of wellness because people have the information and know what to do, but they don't know how to execute. And that's the role I wanted to play in someone's life, their mentor. As much as I love YouTube and I love beauty, I realize the through line and what keeps everything together is my passion to educate. So it doesn't matter what I'm educating on. It could be brushes, it could be lifting, it could be nutrition. I have a passion for helping people better understand what they are confused about and providing clarity no matter what topic. And I found that I'm kind of good at that. So that's why I wanted my platform to now not just be beauty. Again, this is something that I have to think over in terms of rebranding and remarketing, which is completely possible. But just having a lifestyle platform that covers the beauty, the hair, if I ever wanted to get back in there. And now the wellness is what I'm looking to do.
Yes, I love it because watching you pivot and incorporate all aspects of your health journey and your online business along with the beauty. I don't feel like you've dropped the ball anywhere. You've maintained that consistency within the beauty space, but this new era of you, like, I enjoy watching you like show the recipes and the yogurt and the fruit and like I need those kinds of things because I feel like so oftentimes we get so excited about these health journeys. Like we all start in January, girl, we got our New Year's resolutions. We are ready. And then like you start to kind of go downhill. People like run out of ideas and they're like, well, I don't want to eat lettuce every day and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. But it's like, if you can find someone that you admire in the space and like take your cue from them and kind of follow along and not feel like alone in it, I think it keeps some people on the path. I think when they start to feel like that urge to quit because they're starting to lose their motivation, if you feel like you have somebody along for the ride with you, it works. It works out so much better. For me personally, like I joined a new gym recently just a few months ago called P-Volve, and I absolutely love it. It is just all these different female instructors, and it's just they really focus on like strength training and working on your balance and things like that. And I absolutely love it. And I remember like day one, I met this woman named Bevan, and we just instantly like latched onto each other. And she's like, okay, if I come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings at 6, will you do it too? And I was like, yes. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a firm believer in find a buddy. If you find somebody that's going to hold your butt accountable, because I'm not going to miss a day, you know what I mean? Because I don't want her there looking for me, and you know what I mean, and vice versa. So if you can find someone, whether it's a YouTube personality or someone in, IRL, as the kids say, in your space, I think it helps so much as far as your motivation. I really think it helps. So you've inspired me so much. And I didn't even realize this, but I was reading on your page and found out that you used to be a contortionist.
An enthusiast. Yes, I used to be a contortion enthusiast because growing up, trying to learn or be a professional dancer, unfortunately, while I was in college, and this was when there was no ChatGPT, there was no YouTube, you had the library. And some DVDs, and I wanted to become more flexible, but Alvin Ailey and Fordham University had a joint BFA program that I attended.
Wow.
Where the only classes they would recommend that dancers take was either floor bar, Pilates, or yoga. And unfortunately, as great as those disciplines are, they don't actually improve flexibility to the degree that, let's say, Alvin Ailey likes to see high legs kicking you in the face, right? And but that was all I had available to me. So in my mid-20s, when I finally took a fabrics class, like the fabrics you see in Cirque du Soleil, the aerial stuff, I always wanted to try that. Swatches on my arm. And once I did that, it's funny. Once you get into the circus line, you can't help but also want to learn hand balancing and contortion. It all kind of goes together. And when I was able to do a full split, let alone an over split in my late 20s, I was in. And something that combines flexibility and also strength, not in the same way as like with like literature strength with lifting weights, but it does require a sense of control and a lot of skill. The fact that I didn't take gymnastics as a child, I mean, lightly dabbled, but nothing significant. And I was able to learn how to do a handstand and just do these amazing things with my body. I was like, whoa, this is a lot of fun. But the pivot happened when I learned about metabolic health. and the health outcomes of nutrition and becoming actually strong in terms of putting on lean mass, and how contortion doesn't do that to a meaningful degree. I was like, okay, so when I'm 60, do I want to do a split, or do I want to carry my groceries without help?
Okay.
Right. So, and especially for women, like muscle mass just declines precipitously after 30. It's kind of scary.
Oh, okay. I'm way over 30. You're scaring the bejesus out of me. Alrighty.
And I'm 40, right? So I had a lot of work to do, and just learning the role of muscle, how it's not just for the high booty and the pretty arms, but it is an organ. It produces hormones, and it plays a vital role in our metabolic health, and it helps to combat the viciousness of aging.
See, and that's my goal. Like, I just want to age gracefully, and I want to be able to, hopefully one day if I'm blessed with grandchildren, I want to be able to chase them around the yard and play kickball with them and be as healthy as I possibly can. And just following you has really helped keep me motivated. You have taught me so much. I want to talk a little bit about if you could explain the difference between like Pilates and yoga, because a lot of people, I had a few of my clients are like, well, can you ask her this? Because a lot of people, we don't truly understand the difference. I know yoga is like a lot of focusing on your breathing and stretching and downward dog and all this kind of stuff. And then you have Pilates, which I see they've incorporated a lot in NFL practices, Pilates. So can you tell us a little bit what the differences are?
Sure. This is more going to be my opinion as someone who's in the fitness industry, who's not certified in yoga or Pilates, but has taken both extensively.
Yes.
And what I think the main difference is, in my eyes, is yoga is a spiritual practice based on those spiritual pillars. You have different types of yoga that are more yin based, where you hold poses for longer, you focus on the deeper breathing patterns, or you have one that like Ashtanga, which is a lot more dynamic and physical, that includes different sequences that include handstands and a lot of hand balances. So it is quite tough. Pilates is based off what Joseph Pilates developed for injured athletes, as well as not injured athletes, a system where it's very much core centric and used like the reformer, which is like the sliding board with the spring. So it offers various levels of resistance, which is, I think, an advantage if we're going into the differences now that Pilates has over yoga, because at least Pilates has some level of resistance that is hard to generate in yoga. Yoga, you don't have any type of tension for hamstrings, like there's no hinging. There's only lots of squatting, which is great tension for your quadriceps. But what about the other side of the thigh? And there's no pulling, right? There's a lot of pushing, but there's no pulling. And when it comes to strength, you want to hit what I call like the 6 pillars of movement patterns: your hip hinge, your squatting and your lunging, your vertical push and pull, and your horizontal push and pull. And unfortunately, from a physical standpoint, yoga doesn't contain like 2 of those. Which is huge. Pilates, you could at least pull. You could definitely get a lot more hamstring posterior chain work in. But this is something I recently posted, the difference between Pilates and lifting. Where
I saw you lifting and you were doing the squats with it. Girl, I was holding my breath. I held my breath the whole time. Oh.
That there seems to be like this distinction between people take Pilates for core and they lift for strength. I'm like, what do you think your core is doing in lifting? Like, it's also stabilizing. If I have 135 pounds on my back, the core is coring, so I don't fall.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be the same as it is in Pilates with tension with the springs and the different positions. That there's also argument within the Pilates community that the Pilates method has been watered down significantly, that it looks nothing how it started years ago, that it was a lot more dynamic and a lot more tough, which, listen, if we were doing actual Joseph Pilates method versus what we have now, sure, my argument will change. But the Pilates I see now, and again, this is just my hot take, is it doesn't meet the thresholds to put enough muscle on and develop strength to offset the high risk of sarcopenia and osteoporosis for women as they grow older.
Wow.
Because this is the truth. The muscle you see on the thinner women are just the outliers, okay? This is not the average. There are women that just can sneeze and they'll get muscle.
Yes, not
They
me.
exist, right? Not me either. This was like, 3 to 5 years of work. And because they have a lower body fat percentage, they look aesthetically toned and muscular. In my opinion, that is not enough muscle to help them survive what could be muscle loss and strength loss as they get older. You need a lot more. You need a lot more. And how do you get more? Progressive overload. You add more weight over time. So lifting the same 5 pounds for the next 5 years, why would your muscles adapt to that or grow stronger from that? There's no challenge.
Okay.
How did we survive as a species? Things got harder over time.
Absolutely.
It's
wow.
the same thing. It's the same thing with fitness, right? So I'm not saying, don't panic and get under the barbell right away. My message is start where you are and progressively get stronger, but consistency is key. You have to teach your body to be confident and to not be scared. There's risk of injury in anything you do. My boyfriend lives in New York City. Okay. I risk my life getting on the subway nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm not going to be as afraid walking to the gym, lifting weights. That's just how it is. Be careful, sure, but this is how you become more resilient. Vacuuming and not pulling out your back. How many times have I heard about this? I went into a weird position, and then I'm like, okay, well, we got to get stronger in these weirder positions.
Absolutely.
So back to your original question, that is the main difference between yoga and Pilates. Yoga is more spiritual. Pilates is a little more functional and practical in terms of the system, right? And with lifting, the difference is, the main difference is that lifting, you do get stronger and can put on more muscle because of the progressive overload element. You just keep adding more weight over time. You could do a lot of the Pilates, movements with heavier weight.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, why not use weight for your forward fold, using load to get more flexible and coming up from that forward fold? So you're teaching your spine to express force from those deeper positions, right? The men who take Pilates, and this is always so funny to me, where you see these videos of them struggling on the reformer, their legs are shaking, and then it's like, see, Pilates is hard. It's like, yes, you're right. But let me ask you this. You'll be able to do what he does on the Pilates reformer, but I highly doubt you'll be able to push as much weight as he can.
Facts.
And yeah, I'd rather shake on the reformer, and I'll rather have his strength and power any day.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to go down with 135, squat it with 135 on my back like you did. I would love to get to that point,
And you absolutely will.
That's incredible to me. I mean, and you're talking about like building muscle and how important it is to build muscle. Like you said, it's an organ that like feeds us.